Umar was one that who don't want to fight March, and that's why I did this one for him. I give them favor.
When you wanted it this month.
If Merab was pressured into taking this fight, it worked out for him.
Umar's young. One day he will be a champion, but for now, like I said before, it's Merab's time. The machine, baby.
Second fight I was winning anyways. I've been there. I experienced a lot. Top guys, you know. Then now Umar will learn and he will grow up, and I wish him all the best. I have no problem now with him.
After the fight, Merab Dvalishvili acknowledged that Umar Numagomedov is a good fighter and stated that he always gives him respect. However, Merab explained that his earlier comments stemmed from how easily Umar climbed to the #2 ranking. He expressed frustration over Umar's repeated disrespect, particularly claims that Merab would pull out of the fight or had been ducking him. Merab emphasized that when he accepted the fight, he did so without excuses, demonstrating his commitment to proving himself in the octagon.
He's a good fighter for sure, and as a fighter, I always give him respect. But I was only saying because of how easy he got #2. That's why. But now listen, when I take this fight, no excuses. You know what? I said okay, I will fight, but I was just so mad. He was keep disrespecting me. He was saying Merab will pull out. He ducking me. I never duck. Every time UFC asked me, I said okay, I will fight. But I wanted to fight March. Umar was one that who don't want to fight March.
Merab Dvalishvili highlighted that Umar Numagomedov was the one who initially did not want to fight in March, whereas he was ready and willing to step into the octagon at that time. Merab emphasized that by agreeing to take the fight earlier than planned, he did Umar and his team a favor. However, despite this gesture, it ultimately did not benefit Umar, as Merab managed to secure the victory and remain undefeated, further solidifying his dominance in the division.
That's why I did this one for him. I give them favor, but I keep this one with me.
Addressing the first and second rounds of the fight, Merab Dvalishvili admitted that it was initially challenging to figure out how to approach Umar Numagomedov. He praised Umar for being a skilled striker, acknowledging the difficulty in navigating his striking game. Merab stated that he intentionally avoided shooting for takedowns too often because he wanted to gauge Umar's power and test himself in the striking department.
Yeah, it was hard to figure it out, his style. He's a good striker. I don't want to shoot too much because, you know, I wanted to keep a stand and feel his power. And I was working to strike him more, and I actually wanted to beat him in striking because everybody like, oh, he's a great striker, we know, but he is a great wrestler too.
Merab Dvalishvili expressed his belief that Umar Numagomedov is young and has significant potential for growth, noting that Umar has much to learn and had never faced someone with his level of experience. Reflecting on his own journey, Merab acknowledged that he came a long way in his career.
Yeah, I feel it, yeah. He's young, you know, he will grow. And he will learn a lot. He never faced somebody like me, you know, but I come from a long way, you know. I lost my official debut. I had a lot of fights in Georgia, but...
Dana White suggested that if Merab Dvalishvili felt pressured into accepting the fight, the outcome ultimately worked in his favor, highlighting the positive result for Merab despite the circumstances.
When you wanted it this month.
If Merab was pressured into taking this fight, it worked out for him.
Dana White commented on Merab Dvalishvili's relentless pace and impressive output, noting his surprise at how fresh Merab appeared in the 5th round. While he initially expected Merab to overwhelm Umar Nurmagomedov in the final round, he acknowledged Merab's slightly more cautious approach, but still praised his performance as incredible.
The pace this guy sets and the output that he has. I was actually a little surprised in the 5th round. He looked like he was fresh and ready to go. I expected him to run through him in the 5th. And he was a little more cautious and whatever, but he looked great. Yeah, Merab absolutely put on an incredible performance tonight.
Dana,
yeah.
Aljamain Sterling reacted to Merab Dvalishvili's victory over Umar Nurmagomedov by addressing those who criticized him as a duck, humorously demanding they apologize and send him $20 via Venmo or Cash App to cover his pay-per-view expenses. Sterling emphasized that the fight showcased one proven fighter, while the other still has much to learn.
Everyone that calls him a duck needs to apologize and Venmo and Cash App him $20 each. Pay for his pay-per-view. That's what you get for talking all that shit. One guy is proven, one guy still has a lot to learn. Today was a tough learning lesson for him.
Acknowledging Umar Nurmagomedov, Aljamain Sterling stated that Umar is young and has the potential to become a champion one day, but for now, he believes it is Merab Dvalishvili's time to shine.
Umar's young, one day he will be a champion, but for now, like I said before, It's Merab's style. The machine, baby.
Sterling commented on the fight, stating that the first 2 rounds were close, but after that, Dvalishvili gained momentum. He noted that Umar began to slow down, and he could tell that his brother was tiring. Sterling advised Merab to keep up the pressure, maintain the pace, and keep landing strikes, emphasizing that Umar was not doing anything too threatening. He encouraged Merab not to get caught up in Umar's setups, especially where Umar had a strong follow-up with his stepping techniques.
First 2 were close, right?
First 2 were very close. After that, I felt like we were picking up momentum. We could see him kind of slowing down, and we're like, brother, he's getting tired. Just keep the pressure, keep the pace, keep the pace going. He's not really throwing anything too threatening. Just don't get caught up in any of his setups where he has a good follow-up with that stepping knee into his hook.
Sterling expressed that while he did not mean to knock Umar Nurmagomedov, he believed that Umar should have faced more ranked opponents before vying for the title. He acknowledged Umar's high skill level, but pointed out that Umar would not truly know where he stands until he faces top-tier competition. Sterling added that when Umar reaches that point, he may realize that he is not quite ready yet, and it could end up being a tough, sad night for him.
Again, man, I'm not trying to knock a man when he's down, but like I've said before, you gotta fight the ranked opponents. Otherwise, you will get, I don't want to say exposed, because he's still high level. But you don't know where you really are until you get there, and then when you find out you're not that guy yet, it's going to be a sad night, you know? So, like I said, Umar will be back.
Islam Makhachev shared that it was difficult for him to watch Umar Nurmagomedov lose, admitting that it made him feel sad. He acknowledged that Umar is still young and made a few mistakes during the fight. Islam praised Merab Dvalishvili for doing his job well, emphasizing that it was a close fight.
It was hard. I tried to warm up, but I still watching all fights, you know. And make me, of course, make me a little bit sad. But Umar looking good, you know. Umar still young, still hungry, you know. He have time. Because he still young, he makes some mistakes, you know, in this fight. And Merab did his job very well, and they have close fight.
He also pointed out that Umar did not take much damage and landed some good shots, mentioning that Umar even broke Merab's arm during the bout. Islam expressed confidence that Umar Nurmagomedov will make a strong comeback. He stated that Umar is hungry and determined, believing that he will one day become a UFC champion.
You know, Umar not take some damage. He landed good shots, but it's okay. He broke his arm also, and 100% I think he will come back because he's young, still hungry, and he's gonna be UFC champion one day, inshallah.
Islam Makhachev praised Umar for his work ethic, stating that Umar is a hard worker and will only improve from here. He emphasized that Umar has strong skills in striking, wrestling, and grappling, but what he needs most is experience, particularly in the UFC and in later rounds. Islam added that he does not need to offer advice to Umar, as he is surrounded by great coaches and brothers who will continue to guide him.
He needs just experience, one thing. These kids have everything. He good in the striking, in the wrestling, grappling, but he need one thing, more experience. More experience in the 5 rounds, you know, more experience in the UFC, and that's it. I don't have to say something to Umar because he have great coaches, great brothers around him, you know, and he's a hard worker. Number one thing's what you have to do, just training hard.
Michael Bisping expressed his excitement about the co-main event at UFC 311, highlighting how it captivated viewers from the very first bell. He emphasized the relentless pace of the fight, with both fighters pushing themselves to the limit in a high-energy, action-packed contest. Bisping noted the intensity of the exchanges, where both men showcased their skills, resilience, and determination throughout. It was a wild and thrilling experience that lived up to the hype.
The co-main event, that was crazy, right? From start to finish, a wild pace, a furious fight from both men. It really was.
Michael Bisping praised Merab Dvalishvili's cardio and relentless pressure, referring to him as the machine for a reason. Bisping noted that Merab's ability to maintain an incredible pace throughout the fight was on full display, and this was key to his success. He acknowledged that both fighters were excellent wrestlers, which often leads to a cancellation of the wrestling aspect in a fight. However, he pointed out that the bout was primarily contested on the feet, where Umar Nurmagomedov showcased cleaner striking in the first 2 rounds. Bisping highlighted how the fight was a clash of styles, with Umar having the advantage early, but Merab's conditioning and pressure ultimately making a significant difference as the fight wore on.
Something to behold. Now, the pace of Merab Dvalishvili is called the machine for a reason. That relates to his cardio, that relates to his pressure, and let me tell you, that's what we saw in full effect. I knew it wasn't going to be easy for either man. Both great wrestlers, typically, they cancel each other out and the fight plays out on the feet. Umar Numagomedov showed in the first 2 rounds probably got cleaner striking, right?
Bisping emphasized that round 3 was a turning point in the fight, describing it as a very close round. While Merab began landing more significant shots and securing takedowns, the momentum of the fight started to shift. He pointed out that Umar, who had been dominant early on, began to show signs of slowing down under Merab's relentless pressure. Bisping explained that when a fighter tires, they start making mistakes, and this was the beginning of the end for Umar. The continuous pressure from Merab forced Umar into a position where he could no longer maintain the pace, and it was clear that Merab's relentless style was taking its toll. He added, "Outside of Umar Nurmagomedov, I'm telling him, I don't think there's anyone that beats him. We saw what he did to O'Malley."
Round 3 was pretty close, and whilst, yes, Merab started landing some shots, he started hitting some takedowns, the story of the fight was that Umar was starting to slow down. The pressure was relentless from Merab. And when you start to get tired, you start to make mistakes. And that is the beginning of the end in terms of you winning the fight.
Merab expressed understanding and empathy for Umar's experience, stating that he knows what Umar is going through. Having faced losses himself against top-level fighters, Merab believes that Umar will grow and learn from this experience. He wished Umar the best in his journey, emphasizing that he holds no ill will towards him now. These statements reflected Merab's maturity and respect for his opponent, acknowledging that setbacks are a part of every fighter's growth in the sport.
And in the second fight, I was winning anyways. I've been there. I experienced a lot. Top guys, you know. Then now Umar will learn and he will grow up, and I wish him all the best. I have no problem now with him.
Demetrius "Mighty" Johnson praised Merab's work ethic following UFC 311, emphasizing that one thing you cannot take away from him is his relentless dedication. Johnson pointed out that while talent and skill are important, hard work often prevails. He highlighted that we've seen time and time again in combat sports that hard workers can overcome fighters with more natural talent, and that is exactly what Merab showcased in his victory.
The co-main event, Umar Numagomedov taking on Merab Dvalishvili. The one thing with Merab you cannot take away from him is that he is a hard worker. And we've seen it all the time, that hard workers beat people with talent and skill. And that's one thing you cannot take away from this man.
Johnson praised the fight, calling it an excellent battle. He mentioned that he had not made a pick for the fight, but when analyzing Merab, it was clear that his work ethic was a key factor.
Now, that was a very, very, very great fight. Now, I didn't make a pick for this fight. Here's the reason why. When you look at Merab, the one thing you cannot discredit Merab is that he is a hard worker, and he has heart, and he does not give up.
Johnson stated how Merab acknowledged that fighters like Henry Cejudo might be better wrestlers, or Sean O'Malley might be a better striker. But in mixed martial arts, it is about blending those skills together. He emphasized that, like Merab, his strategy would be to push the pace and dictate the fight, making it look easy by taking it to the areas where he excels.
Now, a lot of people, and even Merab said it himself, if you guys go back and watch him, I watched so much of his interviews, he says, yes, Henry Cejudo might be a better wrestler. Yes, this person might be a better grappler. Yes, Sean O'Malley is a better striker than me, but this is mixed martial arts, and I'm going to be able to mix it up where I'm going to make it look easy because I'm going to keep on pushing the pace and taking you down and taking the fight where I want.
Demetrius Johnson pointed out that in the first 2 rounds of the fight, he felt Umar Nurmagomedov was in control, especially with his movement and striking. He noted that Umar was in the southpaw stance, moving fluidly and landing well-timed jabs and strikes, particularly with his feet. While the high kicks from Umar were not landing with significant force, they were still a key part of his strategy, and he was doing a good job of controlling the fight on the feet. Johnson also highlighted how every time they broke from a clinch or exchange, Merab would land a right hand, showing his ability to capitalize on openings and keep the pressure on.
Now, if you look at the beginning of the fight, for round 1, round 2, I felt that Umar Numagomedov was winning. Umar was in a southpaw position, and he was going back and forth, being landing the feet, landing the jab, landing that quick high kick. Wasn't really landing significant damage, rocking him, but he was doing a good job, and I felt like he was controlling the feet. Merab was doing a good job of each time they would disconnect, he would throw a slight little right hand.
Johnson highlighted that once Merab started pushing forward, Umar simply could not keep up with a relentless pace. He pointed out how, as the fight progressed, the constant pressure began to wear on Umar. Johnson observed moments where Merab would sit back, wait for his opening, and then shoot for takedowns, while Umar would respond with everything he had to defend against the shots. Johnson felt that going into the fight, it was clear that wrestling and who could land and secure the takedowns would be a pivotal factor in determining the outcome. He stated, the level of wrestling in that fight and the athleticism and the balance was just peak. When you look at that fight, that was probably the only person I felt could beat Merab.
And then once Merab would just go forward and put that pace on Umar, Umar just couldn't, he would keep up, but you could see as the fight went on, it would just wear on him. And there's be times where Merab will sit there and wait, and he'll shoot, and you can see Umar just give everything into that shot. And I felt like going into this fight, it was going to come down to the wrestling. Who was going to be able to land and secure a takedown?
The fight between Merab Dvalishvili and Umar Nurmagomedov at UFC 311 was an intense and thrilling battle that showcased both fighters' skills and resilience. Merab's relentless pace and pressure ultimately proved to be the decisive factors in his victory, despite Umar's strong start and technical striking in the first 2 rounds. The fight highlighted Merab's exceptional work ethic and conditioning, as well as his ability to adapt and capitalize on Umar's fatigue as the rounds progressed. While Umar's potential remains undeniable, the fight underscored the importance of experience and growth in the UFC. With support from his team and the lessons learned from this defeat, Umar has the opportunity to develop into a future champion. Meanwhile, Merab's victory solidified his place at the top of the division and further demonstrated that hard work and perseverance can often outweigh natural talent. The fight was not only a significant milestone in Merab's career, but also an important learning experience for both fighters. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give us a like. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Who are you supporting in this fight, and who do you think Merab should face next? Let us know in the comment section below. If you want to stay up to date with more boxing and MMA updates, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you do not miss a beat.